Yo, what's going on everybody? Swagkage here, and welcome to today's video, where we're going to be talking about Boruto episode 6, titled The Final Lesson. And, okay, this episode was super hype. It was a little stiff in terms of animation every now and then, but for the most part, I really enjoyed it in spite of that. We didn't get a whole lot of character focus on pretty much anybody, except for Boruto, Shikadai, Mitsuki, and Shino in this episode, but I guess that's to be expected because, as we could see in the previews last week, this episode was meant to be a fight between the three students and Shino pretty much all along, so I didn't expect any more from it than just that. And so Shino is like a monster, dude. Like, the stuff he's capable of pulling off with his bugs now goes way beyond the scope of anything he could do back in part 1 or Shippuden. And apparently he's Jonin level now. I always thought he was like around Iruka level or whatever. I guess he's actually super swole in Boruto. And that's made evident by the fact that the kids can't do anything against him, man. It's pretty much as one-sided as Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura versus Kakashi in the Bell test was the first time. I mean, like, there's really nothing that these kids can do to him, like, the whole time. They're pretty much just running away the entire battle, trying to figure out how to survive and how they can even just land a single hit on Shino. Now, while Boruto and Shikadai have pretty standard behavior throughout the entire episode, Mitsuki is a complete enigma. He's just running around, like, observing the battle between Boruto, Shikadai, and Shino, and it seems like he's curious, if anything, probably because he has something to do with Shino starting to act all weird, along with everybody else starting to act all weird due to the influence of the main villain dude that we keep seeing glimpses of. I mean, I really can't figure the kid out. Like, the writers sort of drop subtle hints about what Mitsuki is trying to do, but they don't outright state it anywhere in the episode, so we're gonna have to wait until later on in the series before we learn any more about why Mitsuki originally came to Konoha. I thought it was a pretty cool dynamic. It made the episode quite a bit more interesting than it otherwise would have been, but it's nothing that I can talk about too heavily. Other really quick, minor aspect of the episode, we get to see Anko in all of her chubby, older glory. Still can't believe Kishimoto took her from what she was to just chubby McChubson in the flesh. But whatever. As for the main plot of the episode, like I mentioned earlier, it pretty much just revolves around the fight between Boruto, Shikadai, Mitsuki, and Shino. There's not really a whole lot to go over there, because it's just like Shino flexes on everybody, they run away, Shino flexes some more, they run away, and in between these instances of them running away from Shino, they try to come up with a strategy to fight against him, and they aren't really able to do it at all. Shikadai does notice that some of Shino's insects shy away from water, but even after the kids manage to lure him into a lake, it turns out that he has insects that he employs specifically when he's underwater. Oh yeah, he also has this summon that's this massive bug that he can stand on top of, and it's capable of flying, so it can take him wherever he wants to go. And again, it's gigantic. I don't know when Shino got that summon, but it looks pretty cool. I guess he beefed himself up in between the end of the 4th Shinobi World War and the start of the Boruto anime. Because, like I said, the stuff he pulls off in this episode is the sort of stuff you would never have seen him do in either part 1 or Shippuden. Shino's crazy now. As a matter of fact, according to Naruto, if not for the fact that he hadn't been himself due to the influence of the villain guy that I keep mentioning, he would have killed Mitsuki, Boruto, and Shikadai, no problem. Shino's out here, man. As for the rest, there's not much left to say. The whole episode is kind of just the kids getting wrecked and Shino laughing about it because he's evil Shino. As a result, I think this review is going to be a little bit short because I don't have a whole lot to talk about here. But of course, there is a bit left to comment on, so let me go ahead and cover all of that and then wrap this review up. So some things worth noting that I just found entertaining in the episode were, first off, the fact that Shino immediately starts the episode by saying he's going to kill all 3 of the kids, which is just, it's so ridiculous, it's hilarious, it's great. As a matter of fact, Shino is over the top, evil, crazy the whole episode long, and it's pretty fun. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but if it was written to be so crazy it's almost a little funny, then congratulations. But if not, well, I really hope they didn't expect me to take Shino seriously here. Not in terms of his combat abilities, but just in terms of the way he was acting. Speaking of killing people, Mitsuki is also like, hey, well, why don't we just kill Shino? And I also mentioned earlier that it did seem like he had something to do with all of what's been going on over the past few episodes, and after he says to himself, or thinks to himself, I should say, that he didn't think there was any way to stop Shino without killing him, I was like, oh, so, like, you know how this this whole evil mode spell type deal works? Why don't you tell us more, Mitsuki? But he doesn't really elaborate, so like I said, I guess we're just gonna have to wait for later episodes to get an answer to some of these questions. After the battle, Shino feels terrible. He actually almost resigns as a teacher because of it. But everybody's like, no, don't do that, man. You were under somebody's control. It's not your fault. And they actually make him so happy, he starts crying when they say that they had no idea Shino was as powerful as he was, which made me really happy. It was nice to see. It was a pretty good feel-good moment. After that, Shino tells Naruto and Shikamaru about what happened, and this is like the first scene we actually get of Naruto being the Hokage in this series, and I thought it was nice. And since Shikamaru and Naruto acknowledge the seriousness of the threat that this villain dude is posing, it seems like things might actually start to kick into gear. Of course, it's gonna take a few episodes because the preview for the next episode implies that it is going to be super fillery, since it seems to be centered around Chocho and some form of love or romance. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not looking forward to it. In any case, I am excited for the future of this series. I enjoyed this episode, though. I think the fight could have been a little bit better. Not by a whole lot, since, again, these are the opening episodes, and the series is still trying to establish who its characters are and what it's attempting to do, but still, I was just hoping for a bit more oomph in the fight, and it wasn't there. Not a huge complaint, just something I thought I would mention. As a whole, I think I would give the episode, like all of the other episodes, a solid 4 out of 5. Writing was on point, directing was on point, but one thing I have to give this episode props for is the really cool music that was used at certain points during it, because, I mean, we got some cool Shippuden battle music-esque tunes going on in the background here, and I really enjoyed that. Aside from that, though, I don't think there's anything else left to talk about, so I'm going to have to end this review a little bit short. But, of course, as always, let me know your thoughts about the episode down in the comments below, and until my next video, I'll talk to you later. Swagkage out. Bye.